Alright, on this video, I'm going to be showing how to change spark plugs. There's a lot of people that know how to do this, but for the people that don't, this video will be for them. So, on this 2000 Grand Prix GTP, I replaced the spark plugs just about 2 months ago, and I've been having hesitation problems with it ever since I replaced the spark plugs and the wires. So initially I thought maybe it was the spark plugs, because I did buy the iridium type, or the factory OEM, which are iridium from AC Delco. Those things cost about $7-8 a plug, so I replaced those. The car's getting really hot, so I decided to cool it down a little bit more and put some copper plugs, a little bit cooler, and it did alright. Went all the way to Florida, did just fine, but I still had the hesitation on it. Now I haven't touched the spark plugs at all until further inspection. I noticed that there was a flaw, a manufacturer's defect right on the part. So I guess that's what I get for buying the cheapest stuff at AutoZone. So as you can see there's a little piece of wire hanging out from the side of the boot there. That is from the manufacturer. So when they went to crimp the adapter that goes inside the boot there, that clamps onto the coil, they didn't do a very good job of it, and they left a piece of wire hanging out. So there's just one strand of the wire there, and it was kind of off to the side here. I just kind of moved it. It's really easy to bend. But anyways, I'll show you what it does, or what it's doing. So hopefully I can pick this up on the camera. So as you can see there with the screwdriver, I didn't even have to put it really close, and the thing was just pretty much grounding out there, and you can pretty much tell the way the motor was shaking. That's one of the hesitations from the car. So that is caused by spark plug wires. Even though they're brand new, I mean, you can actually see them on the camera. They're still in good condition. They're brand new. They're so new. I mean, they still even have the dielectric grease that goes in them, and they pop off really easy. So what I'm going to be doing today is changing these out. I'm just going to pretty much pull on it. I'm going to pull straight back, and sometimes you got to twist it just a little bit from side to side, and just pull on the metal tube, and after a while it should give. There we go. So I've got my first 3 in the front there removed. So for somebody out there with weak hands and fingers, you might want to get some help, because these are a pain in the butt. Kind of cut myself there, just to show you the force that's required to just pull on these, and when they finally do come off. gotta watch out. I also recommend wearing gloves while doing this. Now the wires in the back are always a pain in the butt. This I can't show because the camera won't come back here, but it's pretty much the same deal. You're pretty much gonna twist the boot around the spark plug, try to break it free, and then start pulling, just to start removing that spark plug wire. If you're doing this on a vehicle that hasn't had the wires, plugs, the wires or the plugs replaced in a while, then it's gonna be very hard. Sometimes you can just, if you're gonna replace everything, you can just go ahead and yank on everything just as much as you can. And if you break a spark plug, well, that's replaceable. Alright, so I've removed all my plugs. Now all I gotta do is remove the spark plug wires from the coil packs. Now sometimes these tend to get stuck on here if they're on there for a very long time, but there's no big secret to taking these off. All I can do is just pretty much twist it around. Just do that to all of them, loosen them up, and just pretty much pull up on it and it should come off. Since these have dielectric grease on there and these plugs are replaced not too long ago, it's a pretty simple job. So that's all it is. Alright, so I've gone ahead and got my replacement wires here. As you can see, they don't look much newer than the ones I previously had, because the ones I previously had were pretty new themselves. So I'm going to be installing these. I've separated the short ones with the long wires. So I've also picked up some boot protector. This dielectric spark plug boot protector. This stuff works pretty good, especially when it comes to removing the spark plug wires. It makes it much easier than doing it without, because sometimes what happens is the boot will get stuck to the spark plug and makes it almost damn near impossible to remove for replacement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my dielectric boot protector here, and I'm going to pretty much go on all of my plugs here, and I'm going to just squirt a little bit of this stuff inside the boot. You really don't need to wipe it all in there. You can if you want, but that should be adequate enough. There's more than enough in one of these packages for a whole set of wires. So I'm also gonna insert all my steel tubes. So if you have any boot protectors that go over the spark plug boot from the factory, it's always good to install those before installing on the vehicle. But since this engine has a coil pack located right in the front here, I'm going to be using the shorter wires for the front bay here. So I'm going to start off with the shortest wire, and that is usually number 1 for this car. So other cars might be different. Some cars have the number 1 cylinder located on the rear part of the engine on a front wheel drive car, and some of them will have the number 1 cylinder located on the front bay here. Now if you're having trouble distinguishing what cylinder or what wire actually goes on what cylinder, you might want to look on the internet for information. Now look under firing order. Just do a search for firing order and the type of your car, and you should get a bunch of searches. Or if you have a Haynes manual or a Chilton, that's even better, because you'll have specific details just for your car. After finding your wiring diagram and firing order, make sure to mark on your coils which part of your coil is for which cylinder. The manuals and the stuff you can find on the internet is really helpful. So on this one, since I have markings, I'll put a little bit of boot grease, which I forgot, just a little tiny bit, and I'll install this on my number 1 cylinder, and I'll go ahead and install on my number 1 spark plug here. And you just want to push in until you hear a little click. Second shortest wire, and I'm going to also put a little bit of dielectric protector here on this, and I'm going to go install this on the number 4 cylinder. So I have cylinders here 1, 3, 5, and the rear is 2, 4, 6. So I put the first cylinder, and I'm going to go to the third cylinder here, and just pretty much insert that. I've inserted the spark plug. Make sure when you put your wires that no wires are touching the engine or the exhaust, because it will fail on you prematurely. So I'm going to get the third shortest wire here, and I'm going to again put a little bit of grease, and then I'll go ahead and install this on number 5. So I got the number 5 here, and I'll install this on the number 5 cylinder, or number 5 spark plug. It's always good too to zip tie these, just so you don't have them all over the place. That right there is my first bay of spark plugs, wires installed. Now I'm going to be moving on to the rear. So I'm going to take my longest wire and I'm going to be installing the longest wire on the rear of the engine, which is the number 6 spark plug. Now, it's kind of hard to get the shot of the number 6 spark plug, but I'm just going to install my boot here. Try to stay away from the fuel lines, just in case if there's ever a failure, there's no sparking or arcing to this fuel line. And I'll install this on my number 6 cylinder, or my number 6 coil, and then I'll go ahead and I'll take my second longest here, and I'll install this on the number 4 coil, and then I'll go ahead and pretty much just put on the number 4 spark plug, and I'll take my last wire here, which will be the 3rd longest, or it's the shortest of the longest wires, and this is the number 2. Install the number 2 here, and pretty much just install the number 2 spark plug, and I'm done. It's not rocket science, I'll tell you that much right now. It's pretty easy to tune up a car, but for the people out there that are getting into this, or like to do this, instead of paying a mechanic a high amount of dollars for a tune-up, pretty much do it yourself, save you a lot of money. So you want to make sure you route all your wires. If you have to, zip tie them. Rear parts of these Grand Prix usually touch the oxygen sensor, so I want to make sure I pull this away from the oxygen sensor, and make sure I zip tie all this. I think I'll just run all my wiring under my strut bracket here. So all I'm doing is relocating my wires here, or rerouting my wires. And that's it. I'm done. I've just replaced the spark plug wires on this 2000 Grand Prix GTP. It's not a very hard job to do. Like I said, it's only a pain in the butt to actually remove them, but installing is a pretty easy job. So as you can see, it works. Sounds pretty good. It's just that simple. But anyways, that's how you replace the wires on a Grand Prix GTP. Same procedure for other jam vehicles. And thanks for watching.